Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about writing assembly programs for the TI-83 Plus calculator. This might also work for the TI-84 Plus, however I don't have one of those so I can't actually test it. I'm assuming it would, but I can guarantee it will work for the TI-83 Plus. Now, if you don't actually own a link cable, but you know someone who does have a link cable, then I would recommend downloading Mimas, don't know how to pronounce it. However, it is an environment that allows you to write assembly directly on the calculator screen itself and assemble it on the calculator itself, and then you can run it. So once you do need a PC to actually get this program onto, or application, I guess technically, onto your calculator. So I would recommend, if you need to borrow a link cable, to go this route. Now let's say you actually do own your own link cable. Then I would recommend writing assembly on the computer and transferring it via the link cable. So let's if you look for TI-83 Plus assembly, what you need, it will be this link under Wikibooks. And the first thing we're going to do is get a linking program on the computer itself. So if I go into here, the linking program that I use for Linux is called TILP2. And if I run that, it says I already have it. So that's great. Let me show you what that actually looks like and a little bit kind of how to use it. So if you look at this program, it'll say that currently it is wanting to use this direct link. And that is not what I have. I have a silver link cable, so I'm going to have to change my device to the silver link. And I have a TI-83 Plus. And if I click refresh, you can see it has all of the stuff that's on my calculator, including this assembler that I just told you about not too long ago. All right, great. So you should be up and running with the linking program. Next, let's actually install an assembler onto our computer. So now we'll be talking about going the assemble on your computer route. If you click this spasm-ng, that's the most up-to-date version. It's still being maintained. It's the way to go in my book. And obviously this is GitHub, so you will need Git on your machine, and then it also suggests that you install these other packages. So let's do that. Sudo apt install git, and then the first one was build essential. If you hit tab, you'll get an auto completion. Next we had library ssl-dev. Library ssl- well, that's the other thing. If you hit tab and nothing happens, if you press tab again, it will give you a list of all the things. And the reason it didn't autocomplete is there's a bunch of things that it could have been dev, doc, all these other ones. We'll do dev. Next we have zlibrary1g. And library GMP. And then the last one is check install. It says this is for building Debian packages. We're not going to be doing that, so we don't need that. All right, it says everything on my machine is already installed. Great. So we need to still install the assembler. So let's do that next. Go under code. Copy this, and I'll just put it in this folder that's on my desktop that we're currently viewing. So git clone, Control Shift V. It'll pull it down real quick. Now let's use cd to change our directory to go into spasmng and type make. So this will automatically compile the assembler so that we can use it. Next, sudo make install. This will actually put it on our machine so that we can use it for assembling. All right, so we've talked about programming on the calculator, we've installed the linking program, we've installed an assembler. Next, we need to get an include file. So if you click on this link, TI-83Plus include file, you can download that. And I will just, can I do it this way? No. Okay. Well, it was worth a shot, right? Let's do it in a way I know will work. There we go, and it is in there now. All right, we have our include file. And you might be wondering, what does this file do for us? Well, it automatically defines some things like this B call. It will automatically write in this stuff for us. Rather than having to remember these numbers, like if you want to do an arc cosine, you can just type in ACOS rather than having to type in 40DEH. So it makes our life easier. And that's always a good thing, especially when you're working with assembly. All right, well, the last step now is actually making the Hello World program. Now, you might be thinking, we're home free, right? Well, not exactly. So if we go back to this page and we go down under Hello World, it gives us an example. Unfortunately, it won't compile right away, but we will go through that. Or I should say assemble. I won't assemble right away. Let's create a new file. We'll call it hello.asm. Paste this into here. And just because I want to make everything look perfect, oops, there we go. So everything's the same. I just changed the tabbing because why not? Clean it up a little bit. Now, if we type in spasm and hello.asm, cannot open input file. Yes, we're still in the spasmng directory. So to say it's saved, I've done that before where I haven't saved it and the file didn't technically have anything yet. But let's do that again. Okay, so it says conflicting definition of end, and it was defined already. So we're going to just get rid of this. Don't need that. We're going to get rid of this. We're going to get rid of this. And let's see what it tells us now. Okay, so it's still upset about this B call. And if we open up our include file here, you can see it's defined as B call, all lowercase letters. There's no underscore in there. So let's do that. Now, another thing is if we look at the spasm help, you can see that it also forces labels to be case sensitive. That's probably a good thing to do. Case sensitivity generally helps you out, so here on out we'll try to remember to use that. And it doesn't recognize cur col and cur row. So let's find out what the case sensitivity on that is. And you can see that it is that way. So we will adjust accordingly. And make sure you always save. And let's run it again. There we go. We have a working program. Sort of. So what you actually need to do is you do need to specify an output file as 8xp. And I will show you why. So if we open this up, and then if we open up the one that actually will work, you can see they're slightly different. There's a comment in the beginning, and then also there is this checksum at the end to make sure that it's actually a valid program. If we look at this one, this is just the raw binary. There's no checksum at the end. There's no header, which is, most of this is just comments. So if we look at our linking program, you will see that that actually was important. So I will bring that over again. Make sure your calculator's turned on. Change the device to the silver link. Really wish it remembered these things, but I'm not going to complain. It works. So now if I go to here, you can see that the hello 8xp was recognized, but the hello.bin was not. And the reason for that is this extra stuff that's in there. So to get that file, again, you just need to make sure you specify your output file, and it needs to have the proper extension. So I think we're ready to actually run this program. Let's put this onto our calculator. And it's on there now. Let's view our screen. Oh, and isn't that tiny? Well, there is no way for me to actually make this bigger, but I should be able to zoom in using accessibility tools. I apologize if the screen moves around a lot and it flashes and all those other fun things, but that's still kind of small. Hopefully that's visible now. Okay. Perfect. If I go under here and I tell it that I would like to run this program, I get a syntax error, which makes sense because it's an assembly program. So if I hit second 0 to get the catalog, and I go on down to add ASM, and I add the program, oops, escape, there we go, and hit enter, you can see that we actually have something. So how cool is that? We have assembled this program and it works. Now, one thing that I would like to point out is there was a magic number when we look at, you'll have to excuse everything's magnified yet, but you can see there's this 9D93H. And one thing that is handy, oh boy, there it is. Okay, so if I go under that assembler I was telling you about, and we'll just do a new program. I'll call it the letter A. Press OK. Go under the main code. You can see that it says user mem -2. All right, so let's explore that. We're done with the calculator for now. That was the only thing I really wanted to show you. And if you would like, and you can stand me hitting refresh all the time, I can show you how to write on the calculator itself. I might have to come up with a better way than that, because that still kind of seems like a pain. Maybe I'll actually get a camera and film it or something. Image quality won't be the best, but if you would like that, let me know. I can show you how to actually write on the calculator itself. So let's close some of these things so I can find my accessibility window and get rid of this obnoxious zooming. There we go. Okay, so this is 9D93 and it was called usermem, if you remember that. And you can see usermem does indeed exist, and it's 9D95. So it is 2 higher, and it was usermem -2. So I would recommend, I'll close some of these, that you would do something like this. Wherever you can use words, I think it's better than using numbers. So I'd recommend that. Anyway, though, we have a working program. We were able to display Hello World on the screen. We have an assembler. We're able to use a linking program. And we were able to run our program after assembling it. So I hope you found this video enjoyable. We look forward to seeing you in future videos where we do more than just a Hello World, where we'll actually do fun things. But hopefully this will get you up and running. There are plenty of tutorials online too, potentially from 20 years ago, mind you. But now that you have a working assembler, you'll be able to actually try those things out and see what you think. Obviously, all of this code, there's no warranty on it. Whenever you work with assembly and calculators, it is potential that you could have a RAM clear because the program crashes, and if it clears your RAM and you lose information, that's your fault. Yeah, so obviously, like they always say, there's no warranty on any of this stuff, can't be held liable, and all that fun stuff. But do have fun with your calculator. Don't brick it or anything else. The probability of that happening, I'd say, is pretty slim. If you do have any issues, though, where it locks up completely, I would recommend you take the batteries out, maybe even the little button battery, so that it's able to do a full clear on the memory. All right, so we've talked about the warnings of programming in assembly as well, how to fix your calculator so you don't brick the thing, and how to assemble on your computer, the options to assemble actually on the calculator itself. And I think that's all that I had for you. So I'm not going to ramble on anymore. I hope that you enjoyed this video, though, like I have previously said, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.